welcome to the Scottish Youth Work podcast, where we delve into everything to do with youth work in Scotland. I am Kenny Cameron, and tonight I am joined by Peter Divers. Peter works as a youth worker at the G15 Youth Project in Glasgow, Drumchapel in Glasgow. So, Peter, thank you very, very much for joining me on the show.
No worries, mate. Pleasure coming on. Cheers for having us.
I think I'm actually, I have to be honest, delighted that you came on, because I remember a while back I put on Twitter, I put a sort of call out who are the youth workers that I should be following, and you were tagged a number of times. So I was right on it, following you. So I really, you're obviously well respected, and you know what I mean, you're obviously good at what you do. And like I say, a number of people say, look, this is a guy that you've got to follow. So I'm delighted to have you on, and I'm looking forward to getting your wisdom and your thoughts. All right, but as I mentioned, you're a youth worker. I like to find out for the start, how did you get involved in youth work?
See, to be honest, when I was younger, Kenny, I benefited for youth work. So I grew up in Drumchapel as a young guy, and Drumchapel was rated 28th on the list in the SIMD. So that's the Scottish Index of Multiple Deprivation. So Drumchapel was regarded for outside as a really deprived area. So I grew up in that area. And like I say, I benefited for youth workers, street workers and workers inside youth clubs. And I got to experience so many things that I would never have got to experience if it wasn't for the opportunities. So it I remember my dad was saying to us one day, like, listen, keep an eye on what the youth workers, watch what they get up to, watch how the day hangs. He said, because that's a cracking job. So I love fitness, Kenny, right? So I went to college and done fitness because school was terrible for me, right? I've kind of gone a bit of a tangent here, but I'll get there. So when I left college with my fitness qualification, I went into being a janitor. But I was working with the council for 2 hours a week doing youth work, and I just started to love it and love it and love it even more. And even though some of the guys I was working with were about a year younger than us, I just loved working with people, especially people around about my own age at the same time. And then a job came up with G15 for 17.5 hours a week, doing street work. And I thought, that sounds good. Got me out of being a janitor and straight into being a youth worker, and it just kicked off for there, mate. And I've not looked back. I don't dread going to work. I never have dreaded going to work in this job. And for me, that is just fantastic, man.
You hear that all the time, and personally as well, it's almost a carbon copy. I've done sort of health, fitness, exercise at college, worked on a couple of building sites, but nah, for me, they similarly have benefited for youth workers. And I think it's really interesting you touch on there, you know, folks saying, you look what the youth workers do, and that, you know, you obviously found these people to be role models. And what was it about them that inspired you?
Do you know what it was? I think it was the care. I think they never, I grew up in the 80s, right? And you know yourself, Kenny, growing up in the 80s, parenting was different, man. If you were cheeky or grab a lip, you're getting scudded, right? And I think with youth workers, they were adults who wouldn't hit you for misbehaving, if you know what I mean. They kind of seen it as a learning opportunity when you're misbehaving. They never seen it as something to be punished. It was just an opportunity to explore what was behind the behaviour. And I really appreciated that patience. Even trying that patience was fun as well. But I liked how they just treated you like a person rather than a child, and I liked that. There was something, I respected them for that, and I liked how they were. I just liked how they were in general, even outside all that stuff. They were just nice people. They were patient, they were kind, and they were fun. And I think that's just good kind of values to be as a person, man.
Aye, class again. You know, when you speak to any youth worker, a lot of youth workers go through that similar pathway. They've maybe been a participant, maybe done a wee bit of volunteering, a wee part-time job, and it becomes a career. And I have to agree with you, I've been doing youth work for 20 years, right? And in that time, I could count on one hand the days that I didn't want to go to work. And it was nothing to do with work with the young people, it was always outside things. I always feel very lucky and blessed to go in and get to work with the young people. And you're saying the 90s, right? I'm a 90s laddie as well, in terms of that was my teen years, the summer of 94. Youth, and really engaging with youth work and residentials and romanticising about how sunny it was. I bet it wasn't, but I just remember the residentials up north and all that with youth workers I worked with and how important they were to me. So the G15 Youth Project, tell me a wee bit about that.
So G15 Youth Project, so our remit is to work with 12 to 25-year-olds in Drumchapel. We're the only organisation in Drumchapel that works with that age group. And up until about a year and a half ago, there was 3 members of staff. Now, Drumchapel, that age group in Drumchapel makes up 45% of the population. And there was 3 workers catering for the people. in a youth capacity. So that could be, again, for youth clubs, doing outdoor activities or job searches, CV, employability stuff. So there's 3 of us, and that includes a coordinator. So that left 2 of us doing frontline staff, frontline service, sorry. So our capacity was very, very limited. And you're talking only up to about a year and a half ago, Kenny, that we brought in sessional workers. Now, and that's because there was a demand, ironically, for youth provision, indoor youth provision, and outdoor, obviously. And I'm sure we'll get to that in a wee minute. But so G15 has a set remit, but we always go above and beyond it. G15 is, honestly, it's at the heart of Drumchapel. And see, although we're up to 25, see if you're 30 or 35, you want to come in and look for help, we will not turn you away. We'll do whatever we can to help you, because G15 Youth Project believes in community and it believes in people. And that might sound a bit preachy or hippie, I don't know, right? But I don't care either, because it's true. We care about the people. And sometimes by to support a young person, you might need to support a parent. You know what I mean? So sometimes you need to go the long way around to support young people, and that might be just to support their parents or whatever. So G15 do that. Well, let's say we do street work, we do youth clubs, we do employability, we do great partnership working with other groups. And for example, we've got one on the road with the DWP, who have not got the best reputation. So what we do is we bring them in, a G15 with other partners, and they bring their customers in, and we offer them different employability opportunities and training opportunities through accessing different partners like Lennox Partnership, Prince's Trust, School of Hard Knocks, etc., etc. So we do loads of stuff, and really we're just there to bring the community together to just benefit from all the services that are in the community and to grow and develop themselves.
Interestingly, you also mentioned parents here, and you build a relationship with them as well. If you're talking about employability stuff and etc., etc. Do you find that the parents as well as the young people buy more into like working with the DWP, etc., because it's coming through you guys? Does that get credibility? First element.
100%. So firstly, there's the relationship with the youth workers, right? So rather than going to the job centre, which is a pretty hostile environment at times for some people are probably traumatised for getting out of the job centre. I know that word gets flung about a lot, but I think we need to give it the weight it's due. When you come to a youth organisation, it's just so much less formal, and it's a more welcoming environment. And because you've got youth workers there, the DWP staff, and I've got to say the ones I'm working with are really, really good, but because there's other adult staff there, they're less likely to be maybe less likely to look down on the customer if there's other professionals about. Do you know what I mean? So I think being in G15 Youth Project, that younger people feel safer in that environment and less pressured.
Aye, that makes total sense to me, because I remember going to sign on many years ago at the wee place at Leaf down the road, and I was treated terrifically. I couldn't believe I'd worked even before I could legally work. You know what I mean? And I couldn't believe how I came feeling. And it's that saying, people will always remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
Youth workers, we obviously want to make them feel welcome and safe. And I think if you're working with agencies like DWP or the police or any schools, anybody like that, I think having that youth work presence helps there, because it is a different relationship. The others are authoritarian by nature.
Yeah.
There's a trust there by the very nature of what they are, whether that's right or wrong. You know what I mean? But it's there, and particularly in the deprived areas like Drumchapel or the Ramsey Muirhouse or whatever. So, no, listen, it sounds great. Ironically, like you say, you've had to expand your staff team on account of the demand, because apparently, according to Kirsty Blackman on Question Time last Thursday, quote, young people don't want to go to youth clubs. It followed up by, why would they want to go to smelly community centres? And obviously you touched on that there, indoor and outdoor youth work. What would your reply be to anybody that said that there wasn't a demand for youth work?
You know, honestly, I seen you retweet that, right, or comment on it, and I was astounded and disappointed, really disappointed actually, that somebody with such a position would hit out with such a sweeping statement like that. And again, I watched that before I came on. She was saying she's been speaking to young people and they don't want to hang about smelly community centres. And I'm like, just because you spoke to some young people, which that might be their opinion, Kenny, that's totally fair. You can't then sweeping statement generalise that to represent all young people's views. that's so naive and really dangerous, actually, for somebody with such a position. So what I would say to her, or say to anybody who says that, is you're so far off the mark, it's unbelievable. Because, like I said in my tweet, we're oversubscribed for our youth clubs. Oversubscribed. And I'm talking for 12-year-olds up to 21-year-olds, right? So see, for me, usually in the past, when your kids, young people go to 16, 17, they start to float away for youth provision, right? But what we're seeing now is, so I've just had 2 people in my Thursday group turn 20 and 21. So this is a creative group, right, on a Thursday. It's been going for about 2.5 years. They've just, one's turned 20, one's turned 21, and they still come to that club every single Thursday. Now, for me, that's really unusual for people that age to still come to a youth club. Because usually when I was 21, I was out, I was on it, I was living my best life, right? But it speaks a lot about the provision that's getting provided, but also how important it is for those young people who are accessing it. They keep coming back. And again, through some of the messages I've got, and I'll read them out in a wee minute if you want, what it means to them and what they would say to somebody who says something like that. Because I couldn't believe it. It's so far off the mark. So far off the mark. I'd love to speak to anybody who feels that way, just to have a conversation about it. Because like you were saying earlier, some young people might feel that way, but you can't say that represents all their views. That's unfair.
I know, I think spot on. I think anybody watching that involved in our sector would be astounded at that, because certainly from my point of view as well, the need has grown. I remember starting in youth work again 20 years ago, and I think there was demand for youth work. But I think particularly over the last 3 or 4 years, that demand's rocketed. Is my perception. Now that's my perception because I work in it. It's my day to day. And like you said, that maybe some young people have said, "Oh, that youth, I'm not going to youth club. That's crap. It's not for me." And ironically, by the way, you'll ken this to be true as well. How many young people come to the youth club and go, "This is crap. This is in Moenberg," but they keep coming back, with their mates, and they keep coming back. It's like that scene with the guy who's Kevin, what do you want for your tea? Anything. Can you say to young people, what do you want to do? Do you want to do that? Do you want to do that? Do you want to do that? No. Do you want to do that? Anything. You know what I mean? And then you get you get what I mean? And then you get you find that activity that they want to do. And I think again, part of that is whether it's activity, but crucially the relationships. And my view, I just think youth workers are so well placed. We've got a skill set. I suppose you can teach it, I suppose, but the ones that I see that youth workers tend to, in my view, just have this natural ability to get on with people and take it on their level. And you're working in an area that you grew up in. You'll ken some of the mums and dads and uncles probably. The same down here. And it's an insight that with people with respect that maybe sitting in literal palaces down in London might not have that perception. But is it a fair point though? I did want to counter that. It's a fair point if she's spoken to some young people and they said it's not for them. I think that's relevant. I think it's fair. And there are young people out there who believe that youth clubs aren't for them. There are other things. It might be sport, it might be arts, music, whatever. That you could argue that's youth work as well. But in terms of traditional youth clubs, but there are, and this year at the weekend, oversubscribed. One of the youth clubs down the road just at the weekend, over 100 on a Saturday night. A Saturday night. You know what I mean? Like, incredible, man. And like you, again, people can say what they want, but that's a number of young people in that group would have been diverted for other things. Even if it diverted them for an extra 3 or 4 hours, it's 3 or 4 hours they're not partaking in sort of negative, or what could be described as sort of negative stuff. I'm curious to hear what other people thought, because you did say obviously people have messaged you to follow up on that. I've got some pretty young people as well, but I'd love to hear from them if that's all right.
So these are wee sec. So I've got these for my guys who come on a Thursday, right? They've been coming for, let us say, 2.5 years. They've been coming to this group, Ken. I'm going to just read a couple out, right? I've got a few. So the first one's for wee Caitlin, right? She says, youth groups, they give young people in the community a safe place to go where they can be creative and make friends, right? No brainer. Hannah wrote, they get young people off the streets into a better life and more opportunities to have fun. Obviously, right? Now, the next boy is actually in Budapest because of youth groups, right? His involvement with youth groups. He's in Budapest right now, and he responded to me the night. The staff are friendly and experienced, have your best interests at heart, and there's something for everyone. You're not forced to commit to a club. If you don't enjoy it, you don't need to feel pressured, right? Stephanie said, they give you a place to feel safe and opportunities you get to experience you might not have experienced before. That was my experience of youth clubs. Have fun, get you out the house and make friends, and staff are there if you need a chat with anything or any support. And Samantha said, the staff give you a place to feel safe. Always get the best opportunities that you have not experienced. All staff are so kind and caring, always there to help when you need them for anything, and such a great way to get out the house and meet new people. Now, if that doesn't tell you youth clubs are valuable, then I don't know what does, Kenny. And it's a shame. I didn't want to take. Is it Kirsty? Wasn't it? Her name was Kirsty.
Aye.
I don't want to take her words out of context. So I watched that clip a few times, and it was even the faces she made with regards to the smelly community centres. See the work people go to maintain these services, the funding, make sure all the health and safety is in check, all the bureaucracy and the red tape we need to get through to make sure there's a building there in the first place. To then just disregard them as smelly community centres, it's really offensive. And it's as if people in her position should know better. The amount of work that goes into sustaining, especially youth groups with the funding cuts now, to sustain this provision, and then just write it off as a smelly community centre, actually really, really infuriated me. And I don't get angry that much, but I just felt as if, what is she talking about? That's what I honestly thought. What is she talking about? And it's annoying because she represents a party I voted for. And that's what annoys me because she's alienating people who vote for that party. You know what I mean? So she's making enemies of people who are on her side.
Aye, no, again, there's so much there that resonates with me. I think when I know sort of for the young people, it's very, very similar, but we could rattle off probably between us dozens of examples of young people talking about the benefit youth for, right? But after I put that tweet out, the number of people that like, but that's not our experience of this. We are oversubscribed. So, like you talked about earlier, you can't go and base on maybe. If you turned around and say you spoke to 10,000 young people, then you maybe got right. Oh, hold on here, but actually, how do we engage it? I'm open to that. If there's a section of society, young people society that we're engaging as youth workers, then it is our job to find them, whether they're hard to engage, hard to reach, whatever, or just not interested. Find them, at least communicate with them to find out what can we offer something for you. And if no, that's fine, right? But I think the big thing you touched on there, and youth work for me is agency. An agency for young people, and a youth club might be the only place where there's agency. They might be getting told what to do all the time. There's rules, boundaries, whatever. Now, there's rules and boundaries in a youth club, but it tends to be contracted with the young people. School, there's also that. And when young people go to a youth club, it's theirs. I say to the youth workers that I work with, we didn't work for. I work at Spartans Community Foundation in Edinburgh. I love what I do. Right, but when I speak to my team, look, I wear this badge, but we work for the young people. We work for the community. That's who we work for, and we're there to provide opportunities and experiences. And again, I think we could rattle off dozens of examples where young people have had experiences we've never had. We had a group away recently to the fantastic hopscotch up near Ardvullen on a residential for a week. Some of them had never been to Edinburgh. Some of them barely to Pilton. And yet, this is I would say quite a profound thing in our life, because I still bump into some of the young guys we took to the very first one in 2009.
Yeah,
was the first time we took, and they still talk about hopscotch. Some of them have never been away since.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? So I want to touch on the buildings, right? Because you did speak about that, how sort of unjust you felt that was, and how probably rude and just no nice, like speaking about these buildings like that. Because a lot of people these were community built many years ago. A lot of people worked really hard in their communities to raise the funds, despite loads of red tape and challenges to get these built. But actually, then, whose fault, if people are going to smelly community centres, whose fault is that?
100%, mate. Honestly, I was thinking about that today. I'm like, hold on, your party's in power. Why have we got crumbling community centres? Why have we got swimming pools shut down? Why have we got such poor service provision? Your government runs the show. So if the community centres are stinking and smelly, do something about it if that's your honest opinion. Raise it at Parliament. Make a choice to change the policies on how these things are operated and how much they cost to run. You've got the power. Do something about it. We've not got the power. Like you said, when we're working with young people, we work with young people, not to them or at them. We work with them. So they've got a hierarchy in terms of what happens with funding and what happens with these buildings. do something about it if they're that smelly, because you should know, if you're in this position, how important community centres are in communities. They should be the heart and
I
soul
just
of communities.
wonder. Well, they used to be, but I just wonder though, with a statement like that, is that almost like you can, if you say something enough, people start to believe it, so it's easier to go, right, we'll just pull the funding because people only moan about that because actually we've said enough times that there's no demand for the service anymore. There's no demand for youth clubs. I have to say though, by the way, and I didn't know that MP well at all. I have to say I've not really heard of them before, and I didn't want to sort of tar everybody with the same brush, because I have to say our local MSP, a guy Ben McPherson, he's an SNP MSP, and he's massively supportive of all the youth organisations in North Edinburgh. So maybe it's a personal thing, I didn't know, but I think I do have to sort of say that on the back of that Ben is particularly supportive of all the agencies doing this area, particularly supportive of the young people in that. But I think you're right, like there's been years and years of decline in community centres in terms of the investment, decline in funding for youth work. You're probably going to try and get this extra resource that you need because of demand. I bet that was like jumping through hoops at times, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your guys, I'll say on behalf of youth workers, you'll work over your hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'll
always
over the weekends when you're meeting with your family and all that. It's a vocation, you know what I mean? So I can see why so many people were quite upset at the suggestion that there isn't a demand for that, when we know. I'm not going to go into the thing now, but there's examples of where youth work has not just changed lives, but genuinely saved young people's lives. Like, genuinely saved young people's lives when it's been on the brink. So I can definitely say or see why people were upset at that. If you could say, because I did invite the MP on over Twitter a number of times, I never heard back, unfortunately. But if you could have 30 seconds to sort of say something to her, just about youth work and how what it means to you and whatnot. You've just got 30 seconds. What would you say to her?
So what I would say is, youth work, like you said, Kenny, youth work changes lives. Youth work inspires idea, it inspires creativity. It allows people to see different than what their normal is. And coming from places like Drumchapel, and maybe where you're as well, Kenny, sometimes you need to see there's merit there in order to provide some hope, because otherwise you can get caught up in the poverty. In fact, sometimes poverty can be the goal. Do you know what I mean? So living off benefits, living off, don't know, other means, maybe no legal means, and aspiring to do they kind of things to earn a good living. Whereas youth workers can show and they lead the way by doing things with people, again, no to them, just to show them that there's merit there. And you can't, like you said, you can't use maybe 10, 12 people as a sample to represent all young people's views when it comes to what to go to youth clubs, because it's really naive and really dangerous. And I would love to have the conversation with Kirsty and other MPs who do think this, just to teach them. And again, I don't mean that in a kind of patronising way, but it's all right to know everything. It's totally fine not to know the answer to everything. So speak to the people who do know, ask their opinion, and let's see if we can just kind of make things a bit better together. And again, I don't want to use this to kind of make enemies with anybody or to put somebody down, but there was a great deal of ignorance in that statement she made. That's what I'd say, Kenny.
That's probably about 45 seconds, but I love it.
Sorry, mate. That's me keeping it quiet.
What I love about it, it's heartfelt, and that again, it goes back to it's heartfelt, and it's heartfelt because you care about the young people that are accessing your services, and that's at the end of the day, right? You're wanting the best for them.
Yep.
You're wanting a positive outlook. You're wanting a role model for them, and mate, I've patronising as well, but I genuinely want to thank every single youth worker out there, because I ken the effort they put in, the sacrifice they put in with their own families at times and their own time, and how much they genuinely care. I love the young people they work with. It's something that, particularly in Scotland, and as guys, it isn't probably said enough role model than that, but that love and care you have for the people, the young people in your community and the company clubs is massive. So you're pushing against an open door with me, and hopefully, kind of if this goes out, hopefully Kirsty, the MP Kirsty Blackman can hear a wee bit of this and actually get the chance to speak to folk and other young people and can maybe change your sort of view on it a wee bit. But mate, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I think you've nailed your feelings that were clear over Twitter. and you've nailed that on here. And again, like I thank all you fuckers, I want to thank you for coming on, but thank you for your efforts and your bit. I'll say you're working in your bit, and for what you do for the young people, brilliant, mates, and everybody at the G15 Youth Project as well. Keep doing a good fight and all that. All right, mate.
Same yourself, Kenny, man. Listen, cheers for having us on, mate, and I look forward. I watched many of your podcast. I've not heard it yet, but I'll definitely watch some of the episodes just to get a wee idea what other people are doing. So I always love to find out what other youth workers are up to just to get some ideas, because I've been doing this 20 years as well, mate, and I don't have all the ideas. You know what I mean? So it's good to learn from other practitioners, man, because it's a skill, mate.
No, that was the point, and I'll finish. We spoke just before we came on, like the whole point of me doing this was young people. I was saying to young people about going for it. You might not be an expert, but go for it. You didn't have to be an expert to start something. You can learn as you go and get better as you go, and that's what I've tried to do with this. I didn't pretend to be a great interviewer, a great videographer, any of that. I've got a couple of fans that I'm just trying to show them that I'm willing to go to my comfort zone because I kind of challenge them to do the same thing. So, that's the gist there, mate. But I appreciate your words, and I suppose I was learning. I meant to say at this point, if you like what you've heard, subscribe so that you see the next one. So that's perfect into that. So thanks very much, mate, and all the best. All right.
Right, Kenny. Take care, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Bye, man.